Don't go anywhere, stay tuned. Get ready to take a trip down memory lane. That table can only mean one thing. We're going to be checking out some good old classic Atari games, but rather than checking out an Atari game on the 2600, we're going to be checking out Activision classic games for the Atari 2600, but on the PlayStation. So, as you already know, this is the 42nd anniversary of the Atari 2600. And what better way to celebrate but to play Atari games? As you can see, all the Atari games in the background. We've been playing Atari games all week, and now we're going to be trying out a few Atari games that are for a completely different console. Now, this game right here, this release would never have been possible if it wasn't for the 2600. As you can see, these are all 2600 games, and these are the good old-fashioned Activision games. So let's see what we have here. As you can see here, we have looks like Atlantis, Barnstorming Boxing, Chopper Command. We got a lot of different, probably all the Activision games right there. We got Pitfall. I don't see Pitfall 2 on here, but that's okay because Pitfall 1 is probably the most popular. And we do have good old-fashioned River Raid. You can see right there on the bottom, River Raid's right there. That's my favorite. And yeah, check that out. That's all the games that will be featured on this list. This is at about $1 a game, $1 per game. This baby is fully loaded with 30 of your all-time favorite video game classics. Which is not exactly what it says there, but in the first and largest arcade collection of its kind, Activision classics give you. Let me see if I can read this. I'm trying to read it through the camera, so it's a small screen right here. It says it gives you all the gameplay of the original Atari 2600 games, now on the PlayStation game console. Activision Classics, it's serious old school fun. So, yeah, back when the PlayStation was fairly new. I mean, when did this come out? Let's see here. 1998, so that's probably when the PlayStation was in its prime, around 98. So, you imagine if it's 1998, and you go back, let's say 10 years ago, from 1998 to 1988, there were still people playing the Atari 2600, and of course if you go back 15 years before then, or 20 years, the only thing that really existed was 2600 and ColecoVision and Intellivision. You know, all that type of stuff. Let's look at the manual. And right away, this is the disc right here. So before we check out the manual, let's look at that. A collection of Activision classic games for the 2600. Nice red looking disc. Then we have Asteroids for the PlayStation, which I actually, at one time, I used to own that game for the PlayStation. It was actually pretty good. This goes to show you that Atari was still making really good games. You got the table of contents, and each page has like its own separate game on it right here. So there's like a, let's say if you go here, you can see a rundown of how things are executed on the PlayStation. That is your power button, your reset button, your open button, your disc cover. So for anyone who is new to the PlayStation, fresh off of the Atari 2600, This will give you a little bit of a head start. Then over here we have the controller layout. So as you already know, the Atari controller looks like this right here. And somehow we have to figure out how to play it on this controller. So you see we have the direction buttons, we have a pause button right there, we have the X is the action fire jump button. And you can change the color from the TV type from color to black and white using the square button. That's actually pretty cool. And on the top right there you can change your difficulties. That's actually pretty cool. So pretty much everything's right on the controller. So if we go to the next page here, it's a lot of text. You're not going to really find anything too spectacular in here except for, you know, the different game modes, game types, all the settings and all that stuff. You got Pitfall right there. And of course you have a big old-fashioned Activision little survey type thing right here. You can register your game. Maybe win a couple of Activision patches. You're scoring a high score, so you got Ski Jinx. Let me see here. Sky Jinx, that is. And yeah, look, there's about 30 games on here, so let's play some good old-fashioned Activision classics on the PlayStation, but they are definitely Atari 2600 games, as you can see right there. So let's head over to the PlayStation and let's have some fun. Alright, so we have our PlayStation right there. And we're going to get the controller all around right here, and we're going to be playing some Activision classic games. And I wonder if the DualShock works on it. We're using our good old-fashioned DualShock controller right there. Get this plugged in. I don't think we need a memory card, so let's take my memory card out right there. Now this is a first model PlayStation, so it's a little bit stubborn when it comes to reading discs. So let's pop in Activision Classics. So let's head over to the CRT and let's play some good old-fashioned Atari 2600 games on the PlayStation. Let's check it out. Gonna give it a try again. Gonna boot up the PlayStation and see what happens here. We got the Sony Computer Entertainment logo right there. We're playing on a real CRT TV. Let's see if we can get that centered right there. And hopefully it doesn't go out of focus. Yeah, that's the Activision logo. We have to skip that because our PlayStation, for some reason, locks up and freezes on certain games. So hopefully, here we are. We made it to the end. And we got the Activision Classic Collection, 30 games for the Atari 2600. Press start. Let's see what happens if we don't press start for a second. Let's like a little demo or something. Let's check that out. And you can see that it has like a TV with antennas. Alright, we're getting something. Alright, so it looks like some sort of demonstration using video clips. It's definitely not real-time footage. Real-time gameplay, that it is. So you can see various different Activision games being played with a nice little PlayStation background music. And the frame rate of that video is horrible, as you can see. See if we turn down the volume just a little bit. So when you push start, you get that cool Pitfall sound effect. That is pretty cool. And that was the coolest loading screen I've ever seen. Had that nice rainbow look to it. So no memory card detected. See if we can put a memory card in there. Let's see what happens. Alright, so there is a memory card in there now. So that is a very, very cool interface. You have like the Atari 2600 up here. You have like a TV down here. And it's basically a list of end labels on the Atari 2600 games right here. That is really, really cool. Let me see if I can make this a little bit less bright so you guys can see it. Yeah, right there is probably okay. Let's see here. I just want to make sure you guys are able to see this. Let's see here. That should be okay. So it's not oversaturated with the brightness. You have a Lance's barnstorming boxing, so every time you go down you can actually see a video clip of each game being played over on the TV over here, which is pretty cool. Shot per command, Cosmic Commuter, and Crackpots, Dolphin, Dragster, Enduro. Is there another selection of games here? Okay, yeah. We got tennis, Stampede. See, are you able to go down? Oh yeah, here we go. Kaboom, Laser, Mega Mania, Pitfall. See what Pitfall looks like. Look at that. That is really cool. And then in the background you have that cool looping like arcade sound effect, music stuff going on. I don't know what the hell that is, but it sounds pretty cool. So basically the menu and the layout is kind of similar to what you would see like on a demo disc. And every time you select a game, watch the 2600 up here. Watch. You can see different cartridges being inserted. That is pretty cool. It's actually not cartridges. It looks like the actual box. But I must give credit where credit's due. I think this is pretty cool. So let's, oh, they do have River Raid 2 on here. Okay. So they have River Raid 2, but not Pitfall 2. That's interesting. Let's try Pitfall. Probably the most famous Activision game of all time. Alright, so Pitfall, game one player. Okay, let's... What the hell is that? That was pretty cool. And we are celebrating... Wow, that was pretty cool, whatever that was. It spawned onto the screen. That was pretty awesome. And, what was I gonna say? Very, very distracted. Oh yeah, we're celebrating the 42nd anniversary of the 2600 this week. And we're playing some 2600 games here on the PlayStation. And one thing that's probably noticeable is if you play this on the 2600 and you try to record footage of it, the color reproduction is very, very hard to replicate. We have a snake right there. The audio sounds a bit different than the 2600 version for some reason. Maybe it's the emulator that they're using. Like when he's swinging on the rope, it sounds a little bit more muffled. That's interesting. I wonder how they executed this back in 1998. Like, what emulator are they using? Oh, that log. Just keep walking over here, you never know what you're gonna find. It still has that nice 2600 sound to it. You know, I had no idea you can wall jump, but if you walk over to the wall and push jump, you can actually wall jump. That's pretty cool. So I learned something new today. Let's go down here. Do a wall jump. Look at that. Let's walk over here. Hop over that scorpion skunk looking thing. I don't know what the hell that thing is. It's a scorpion. Keep walking over here. And we have another one. Oh! It's definitely easier to play on the PlayStation controller. So playing on the original 2600 joystick, it could be a little challenging at times. It's not the most accurate controller in the world, but definitely pretty fun. The DualShock controls don't work on it, so if you put on analog controls for the PlayStation, it does not work. Can you imagine playing Pitfall with the DualShock controller? That'd be crazy. Let's jump over here. Oh my god, bit in the ass. Look at that. Right in the ass. Gotta walk this way over here. Oh, that was so close. See if we can walk over here. Oh, jump over there. Look at that. And we made it to the ladder. Let's climb up the ladder right here and jump over here. Let's keep going. Alright, so we have to wait for these guys to behave. Oh! You get that good old famous death music. Oh my god, that was pitiful. And of course I did not really score much in that at all, so if you hit select, oh look, there's a TV adjust right here. So you can adjust the you can actually adjust the size of the emulator right here. That's pretty cool. So if you want to make it bigger, you could. So you can turn on different difficulties right here. Alright, let's so supposedly when you hit square, you can actually make it black and white. You look at that, that's crazy. So if you were a fan of playing your 2600 games in black and white back in the day, it's quite possible to do it on the PlayStation just by hitting the square button. As simple as that. Yeah, you can see the logs rolling by. Oh my god. How many times am I going to do that? Oh, I missed the rope. And there we go, we got color. And the controls feel pretty accurate. Everything feels good on this game. So you've got a quick game. Let's see what happens here. It's a really cool looking interface also. You hear that crazy Atari sound effect. So let's go back into it and let's check out a few more games. Just for the heck of it, let's check out River Raid. It's definitely one of my hands down favorite Activision games. Let's see how River Raid compares to on okay, so this is either a 1-player or 2-player on this game. You got that cool robotic voice. Alright, so we got River Raid right here. And the audio definitely sounds off. So I'm not sure what kind of emulator they're using, but it's not 100% accurate on the audio. The gameplay and the graphics look okay. The audio, on the other hand, sounds a little strange. You can definitely hear how muffled it sounds. Nonetheless, if you did not have an Atari 2600 back in 1998, which most of us did not have an Atari 2600 20 years ago, so by then you're playing the PlayStation N64, you know, all that stuff, Sega Saturn. This would be your way of playing your 2600 games again on the PlayStation. Even if the audio is not the greatest, it's not 100% accurate. This right here is a great example of a primitive, classic example of emulation right here. This is definitely like some sort of like primitive PlayStation Atari 2600 emulator. And that's probably the reason why the audio doesn't sound accurate. This emulator, whatever it is probably so old and so primitive that you're lucky to even play 2600 games on your PlayStation to begin with. So of course, by today's standards, anyone that would play this, pop this into the PlayStation, would probably complain about it. But you know, somebody like me back in 1998, if I bought this game and I was able to play it, I'd be very, very happy with what I have here. Because, you know, emulation wasn't perfect back then. It was barely in existence. And this is pretty cool. In fact, I think the first emulator that I ever played was probably a MS-DOS emulator for the NES and Game Boy. And the Rain arcade emulator for DOS, I used to play that a lot. Play a WrestleFest. And the frame rate's a little choppy on this emulator as well, but it's not bad. It's doable. It's playable. Let's see if we can make it to the top. Scored 3,370 points so far. It's very, very interesting that the audio is so not emulated that well at all. It's like the emulation on the audio is horrible. So this really makes you wonder, like, emulation back then was just, you're lucky it's even happening. And they would release a game even if it has bad audio because, hey, what the hell, at least it's working. Nowadays, if you did that, you would have so many people getting on your ass about it, having a fit. And back then, this was acceptable because, you know, of course, emulation was not perfect back then. As mentioned, it was barely in existence. We made it to 5,000 points. We'll see how many points we can score before we hang up our boots. And we are celebrating the, oh crap, we need some fuel. And definitely right away, once you go over the fuel right here, the audio is definitely really, really distorted. It sounds completely different than the 2600. So I guess the 2600 audio chip is very, very difficult to emulate on the PlayStation. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like some sort of homebrew emulators on the PlayStation for the 2600 that more than likely is probably much improved now compared to what it was back then when this game released. Alright, let's see if we can make it. Oh, I almost shut that jet down. That would be some really good points right there. Alright, so far we're doing pretty good. We got over 7,000 points. Over 8,000 points. Oh, man! I should have slowed down right there. I got 8,300 points. Guess we'll try out one more random game. Something that we're a little bit more familiar with. Let's see. I'm pretty sure that every single game is using the same exact emulator. So you have River Raid 2, Chopper Command, Grand Prix Hero, Kaboom! I think originally Kaboom used that little round dial controller for the 2600. Used that like a tennis paddle, I guess you would call it. That thing you had to spin it. That's basically what it is, whatever the hell that thing's called. Yeah, we'll play it safe and we'll play boxing. We'll see how the audio is on boxing. We'll see if of course you hear that classic robotic sound right there. I'll say that the okay, so here we are. How do we start the game here? So there's not really much sound effects to this game at all. Because as you see, that's what it looks like. The gameplay plays exactly the way it should. So one thing that hasn't been really affected by the emulation is the gameplay looks to be intact. So if you're looking to get an enjoyable experience out of these games, back in '98, this was definitely the way of doing it. I mean, the interface by itself makes up for the horrible sound quality. I love the interface on this. Pretty cool. We got Sequest. Let's play Sequest. Haven't played that in a while. Play some good old-fashioned Sequest. Let's see here. Got one person right there. I don't quite. I didn't play Sequest hardcore back in the day, so I don't quite remember exactly how the sound effects sound on this game. But I would say that the audio sounds definitely better on this game compared to Pitfall and River Raid. It still has like a slightly distorted sound to it, I say. But it sounds pretty good. Oh! You still get that Atari 2600 vibe from the audio, even though it may not be 100% accurate. Oh my god. This fish. Oh, I completely missed all of them. Pretty fun. Yeah, so if you own a PlayStation and you want to get yourself some Atari 2600 games, this may be the way of doing it. Pick up yourself a copy of Activision Classic Games for the Atari 2600 on the PlayStation. That's a pretty decent handful of Activision games. And most of the Atari 2600 games that are really, really top tier, really, really good, are Activision games. So, as you can see here, this is a demonstration. So you'll definitely enjoy playing this game. Once again, the audio is not 100% perfect during gameplay. And you can't really complain about that, because emulation back then was not perfected yet. But this is actually really, really cool looking, especially the interface, and it plays good enough to play. So I give it a thumbs up. So if you enjoyed this episode of Memory Lane, don't forget to comment down below and give it a thumbs up and let me know what you think.